So in topic 9, we have section 9.3. So why do you need to be financially literate? So one reason might be so you can tell when numbers are being faked, or another one is to know when there's the danger signs of a supplier in financial hardship. So let's dive into it. So can you trust their numbers? So sometimes you'll see window dressing. So accounting, they can play with numbers, put them in different categories and stuff like that. So in an effort to make their firm look better than it is, maybe even more attractive. So you might have heard about this when companies are looking to be bought by other companies. So they might change their income statements or change their financial statements to look like they're doing better than they really are. And that way, when they're bought they can get a higher price. So the owners of the company or the shareholders can get paid more. That's one thing. But to win your business, let's say you're a large company and you're looking at a supplier, and that supplier is a smaller company. They really want your business, and they might modify their financial statements to bring you in. So that could be window dressing. So we need to look at their assumptions and their estimates. There's a lot of things that can be estimated, especially let's say a multi-year contract. They could say that their accounts receivable is larger than it is for the year, because they might say, well, it's a 2-year contract, and instead of splitting it 50-50 one year and the next year, they might put 75-25, because they estimate that they're going to have that for the year. So there's a lot of different ways they can adjust their assumptions and the estimates. So one thing, if you're financially literate, is you can see when the suppliers are playing with their numbers. And it could be a big red flag depending on how they've modified their numbers. So one thing you may want to do if you're looking to work with a new supplier, and it's going to be a big supplier for you, maybe have somebody from the accounting department take a look at the numbers and see if they're real or legitimate. So that could be something you do. So what questions should you ask of your company, of your supplier? So what assumptions did they use to create their financial statements? That's a good one. Are they assuming certain things? Are they assuming that they're going to have more demand for their products? Or are they assuming that they're going to have lower demand for their products? So they're estimating maybe future sales in there. The financial statement is not just their current picture. It could be other things in there too, depending on what you're asking them to provide. Remember, this is what you are asking them for. And when you evaluate it, you're looking at it that way. So how did your supplier or potential supplier, how did their accountants estimate the key numbers? For example, when I use that multi-year contract, if it's a 2-year contract, did they split it 50-50, 50%, 50% into the 2 years, or did they do a different number? Did they do 66.3% and then 37.7%, or whatever percentages? Did they do that? So we need to ask those questions. And what biases went into those assumptions and the estimates? So did that make you feel like the company was better off than it really is? So, and how do these assumptions, estimates, and biases reflect on their financial health? Did it make them look like they're better? Did it make it look like they're average? Or did they make it look like they're worse? Hopefully they didn't go as far as to make themselves look that bad. If they didn't want your business, they would just say, no, we don't want your business, right? But it could go that way. Most of the time you'll see that they're trying to overinflate their position to make themselves look better. So if you're financially literate, you'll be able to catch up on these things, or catch these things in the act. If you're not confident in your own ability, and even I would ask an accountant, because they are professionals, right? So ask the accountants, have them take a look at the numbers. They'll be able to look at it and say, no, this is a giant red flag. You should ask more about this. So when in doubt, get an expert on it. All right, so next we'll be talking in getting into the basics and how you can read these financial statements.